Do you ever walk into a room you know well, only to stop dead and realize you have absolutely no idea why you went there? Do you sometimes look at your keys or your wallet and wonder if you just misplaced them 5 minutes ago? That little slip, that moment of confusion, it brings a cold dread. We are all carrying the heavy worry that these slips are the beginning of a long goodbye. We worry about losing our minds, losing our ability to manage our own affairs, and becoming a burden on the people we love most. It is a heavy fear, especially once we reach our 60s, 70s, and beyond, when our routines feel less steady and the world moves faster than we do. But listen closely to what I've learned from years of watching and studying the science of aging well. Before you panic, before you assume the worst, we need to check one simple, often overlooked, and totally correctable thing. Medical research confirms that millions of older adults are showing serious cognitive symptoms: confusion, fatigue, memory fog, even sudden mood changes, all symptoms that perfectly mimic the early stages of true, irreversible decline. The tragedy is that for a shocking number of these people, these devastating symptoms are caused by one extremely low vitamin level. It's easily tested, it's easily fixed, and fixing it can often bring back clarity, boost your energy, and restore your peace of mind almost immediately, protecting your dignity and your independence. We are talking about vitamin B12. Now, you might be thinking, I eat meat, I eat fish, I eat eggs, I get enough B12. And perhaps you do, but the problem isn't necessarily what you eat, it's what you absorb. B12 is essential. It helps your body make healthy red blood cells, but more importantly for your brain, it maintains the health of your nerve fibers. Think of B12 as the insulation around the electrical wires of your brain and nervous system. When that insulation breaks down, the signals get crossed, you lose your sharpness, you feel disconnected and confused. The biggest issue for us as we get older is that our stomachs naturally produce less of the acid required to separate B12 from the food we eat. This means even if you are eating perfectly, your body might not be pulling the B12 out to use it. If your B12 is low, confusion isn't the only problem threatening your independence and peace at home. You might feel a constant deep fatigue that makes even simple daily tasks, like cleaning the kitchen, paying the bills on time, or sorting through the mail, feel impossible. That profound fatigue is often the quiet starting point for a lot of anxiety and home shame. Fatigue leads to clutter. Clutter leads to messy rooms we avoid. Messy rooms make us feel disorganized, embarrassed, and isolated because we stop inviting people over. It is a subtle, cascading disaster that starts with a tiny nutritional slip in your body chemistry. A low B12 level also affects your nerve signals in ways that directly impact your safety and security. It throws off your sense of balance. This is crucial for everyone 60 and over. A stumble on the rug, a fall getting out of the shower, these incidents are the fastest, most effective way to lose your independence and leave the comfort of your own home. So, here is the immediate wise action you must take right now. This is the protection that secures your future. Call your primary care doctor today and request a B12 level test. Do not accept a simple, "you look fine," or "it's probably just stress." Insist on the blood test. It is cheap, non-invasive, and incredibly revealing. If your level is below 400 pg/ml, you need treatment. If your doctor tells you the normal range is simply above 200 pg/ml, tell them kindly that for optimal cognitive protection in older adults, that range is often considered too low. We are aiming for 400 or higher. This is protection. It's health protection because it prevents confusion. It is financial wisdom, because managing confusion and preventing a debilitating fall now is far cheaper, emotionally and financially, than dealing with long-term care later. This simple action is about staying sharp enough to manage your own finances, secure your home, and live your own life with dignity. Taking charge of your B12 level is an immediate way to give yourself back clarity and power. But a clear mind alone is not enough to secure your long-term independence. There is a second, very common factor hiding in plain sight in almost every senior's medicine cabinet that actively sabotages sleep, increases depression, and creates devastating side effects often mistaken for advanced aging. If B12 is the critical fuel your brain needs, this next thing we discuss is the subtle, often unnecessary break slowing down your entire life. We need to audit your routine immediately. We will dive into this critical warning and what to change right now in the next segment. Let's talk directly about the silent thief we mentioned. It is often something surprisingly simple. Vitamin B12. Many of us hear vitamin deficiency and assume we must be eating poorly. But for people over 60, it's rarely about the food itself. It's about absorption. Our stomachs change as we age. We naturally produce less stomach acid, and acid is the key that unlocks B12 from the food we eat. If that key is weak, the B12 stays locked away. This is critical because B12 is essential fuel for your brain and your entire nervous system. When that fuel runs low, the circuits start to misfire. Now, add in common medications. Be aware that some of the very pills we take for reflux or heartburn, the ones that stop that uncomfortable burning feeling, they work by reducing stomach acid even further. They fix one problem, but they unintentionally accelerate this B12 theft. If you take acid blockers regularly, you must check your B12 levels. It is non-negotiable for protecting your independence. This nutrient deficiency doesn't just cause memory loss. It causes a specific type of confusion that interferes directly with your daily life and your dignity at home. Think about standing in the kitchen. You intended to make tea, but now you are just staring at the kettle, unable to remember the next step. Or maybe you are paying bills on Sunday afternoon. You know the money is there, but you look at the forms and feel a sudden paralyzing panic. The numbers swim. The instructions seem impossible. You think, I'm losing my mind. I can't manage my affairs anymore. This feeling, the loss of competency in your own routine, is the first thing that makes us fear moving out of our homes or having to ask the children to take over. This is exactly what we are protecting against. Low B12 also affects the nerves in your limbs. You might notice unusual tingling or numbness, especially in your feet. This feeling, sometimes called pins and needles, is a warning sign. When your feet feel dull or numb, your balance suffers immediately. And we know this well. A fall is the fastest way to lose your independence. Protecting your nerves by ensuring adequate B12 is not just about memory. It is physical protection against fractures and hospitalization. The beautiful wisdom here is how easily this is solved. This is not complex surgery or expensive long-term therapy. This is a simple blood test. When you speak to your doctor, ask them specifically for your B12 level, and don't just settle for the standard normal range. Studies suggest that older adults function optimally at the higher end of the B12 range. If your number is low normal, discuss supplementation immediately. Sometimes supplements in pill form aren't enough because the stomach still can't absorb them. In that case, quick, easy injections, a simple shot once a month, can completely revitalize your mind and body. This is the definition of wise money management in later life. Investing a few dollars in a quick blood test or a simple supplement prevents the exponential heartbreaking cost, financial and emotional, of genuine cognitive decline or a serious fall. This choice preserves your biggest asset, your ability to live securely and clearly in your own home. We have secured our minds by checking this vital vitamin and taking immediate action if needed. But the path to a peaceful old age is layered. Peace isn't just about what is happening inside your body. It's reflected in the space you live in. Sometimes, the anxiety and feeling of being overwhelmed we carry isn't just caused by low vitamins. It's mirrored in the clutter, the piles, and the things around us that demand our attention. Next, we need to apply our wisdom to the home itself. We are going to walk through the house room by room and discuss simple, gentle habits of decluttering. This isn't about scrubbing floors. It's about reducing emotional friction and creating a safer environment because fall can also be caused by a stray item in a dark hallway. This next step is essential for protecting your body and calming your mind every single day. This conversation is about taking back control. It's about replacing fear with fact. If you have already spoken to your doctor and confirmed that your confusion, your tingling, and your deep fatigue trace back to a simple low level of vitamin B12, take a deep breath. You have faced the worst fear, the fear that you were losing yourself, and replaced it with a practical solution. That weight you felt in your chest? That is the sound of it lifting. Now, we move to the fix. For many of us, especially those with diagnosed absorption issues or chronic medication use, simply taking an oral pill might not be enough initially. Your doctor will guide you. Often, they start with a series of injections, a quick, simple appointment, to rapidly restore those essential levels. This is the fastest route back to clarity. Once the initial crisis is managed, the maintenance begins. If you are asked to take a sublingual tablet, one that dissolves under the tongue, this is often preferred over swallowing because it bypasses the stomach acid issues we discussed earlier. Consistency is your new best friend here. Set an alarm. Put the supplement bottle right next to your toothbrush or your morning coffee mug. This isn't just about avoiding confusion, it's about protecting your long-term independence. Think about the tension that low B12 created in your daily life. When your mind was foggy, perhaps the home started to feel overwhelming. That stack of magazines on the coffee table became a monument to things you couldn't face. The clutter in the pantry started growing, and maybe you even stumbled a few times because you didn't quite see the rug edge properly. As your vitamin levels restore, you will notice a ripple effect that touches every corner of your aging wisdom journey. Your home environment will improve because your focus returns. You suddenly have the mental bandwidth to spend 20 minutes clearing the counter or finally calling the handyman about that leaky faucet. A clearer mind leads to a calmer, safer home. This isn't trivial. A peaceful home environment is crucial for mental peace in later life. Consider your financial wisdom. Confusion and brain fog are a scammer's best friend. When you are tired and stressed, you are far more likely to click on a fraudulent email, sign up for a needless subscription, or simply forget to pay a critical bill on time, leading to late fees and deep anxiety. Imagine reviewing your monthly bank statement now, post-restoration. The numbers make sense again. You can confidently call the utility company, not with frustration, but with authority. You can budget for that necessary trip to see the grandchildren without the panic that your accounts are confusingly shrinking. Restoring your B12 is, surprisingly, a strong financial protection habit. And, perhaps most importantly, the clarity improves your emotional connections. If you've been struggling with loneliness or widowhood, it's hard to reach out when you feel unreliable. It's hard to join the senior center's walking group if you feel unsure whether you'll remember the route home or trip over a crack in the pavement. As your nerve function stabilizes and that brain fog lifts, your social confidence returns. You feel capable of picking up the phone. You feel secure enough to take the bus downtown. This simple nutritional adjustment breaks the cycle of fear-isolation decline. You're not only healthier, you're more present for your loved ones. It also changes the dynamic with your adult children. When you feel capable, they worry less. When you manage your bills effectively and keep your home safe, they see competence, not decline. This alleviates the strain that often builds when aging parents seem to be struggling with basic executive functions. You are protecting your dignity and your family harmony simultaneously. But we must not stop at B12 alone. While B12 is the primary culprit behind the confusion that mimics dementia, there is another key nutrient, one that affects mood, muscle strength, and bone density, all crucial pillars of independent aging. This nutrient is often critically low in seniors, especially those who spend less time outdoors or cover up when they do. In our final part, we will discuss this common, yet often ignored, second vitamin that directly impacts your physical resilience and ability to fight off chronic conditions. We will cover why checking this level is essential and how low levels increase your risk of the very falls that threaten your independence most. The relief when the doctor calls is immeasurable. They confirmed it. It was not the tragedy you feared, but a simple mechanical failure. It was the low vitamin. Maybe it was B12, maybe folate, maybe even a specific thyroid marker that had drifted low over the years. Whatever the cause, you now have a name for the confusion, and you have a clear path back to yourself. The treatment for this is usually straightforward, a simple regimen of supplements, or perhaps a series of injections. It is not complex surgery. It is not lifelong medication with frightening side effects. It is often just a necessary tune-up. But watch what happens next. This is where the true wisdom of catching this early comes in. Within weeks, or sometimes even days, the little frustrating symptoms start to melt away. Do you remember that deep fatigue you felt in the afternoons, the kind that made the sofa feel like a strong magnet? That starts to lessen. You find yourself standing up straighter. You have the energy to bend down and retrieve something from a low cabinet without a second thought. The annoying tingling in your hands and feet, which made driving or buttoning a shirt feel clumsy, begins to fade. Your body feels more connected, more predictable. And then comes the profound return of clarity. The brain fog lifts like morning mist off a quiet lake. You realize you can follow the plot of the evening news without constantly rewinding or asking your spouse, "Wait, who was that person again?" This clarity impacts your home life immediately, turning anxiety into gentle efficiency. Before, you might have walked into the kitchen with a task in mind, making tea, taking a pill, and immediately forgotten why you were there. That sense of losing time and purpose fueled the fear of true decline. Now, you walk into the kitchen, you grab the mug, and you remember to check the date on the milk. You feel competent. Think about your home safety. When your mind is clear, your movements are confident. You are less likely to stumble over a throw rug because you see the rug, and you register the slight unevenness of the carpet edge. When you are not constantly searching for the right word, you are also not constantly rushing and tripping. Cognitive clarity is the best safety device you can install in your home. It affects the simple chores that bring dignity. You suddenly have the patience to sort through that pile of magazines you meant to discard, or to finally organize the spices in the pantry. These small acts of control over your immediate environment are deeply reassuring when aging felt like a loss of control. Now, let's talk about money. When you are dealing with mental fatigue, financial decisions become terrifying. The paperwork looks like a mountain of confusion. The thought of checking the retirement statement brings a headache. You worried that you were becoming vulnerable to scams because you felt too confused to trust your own judgment. But now, with your brain nourished correctly, you can sit down at the kitchen table with the bills. You can calmly compare the insurance statements. You can spot the sneaky late fees or the suspicious mailers targeting seniors. A clearer mind protects your money better than any lockbox. You can now have those important, necessary conversations with your children about the future, the will, the powers of attorney, the care preferences. You speak with a firm, calm voice because you trust the logic that formed your decision. You don't sound defensive or vague. You sound like the wise elder you are. This whole experience, the panic, the testing, the simple resolution, becomes a profound lesson in aging well. The lesson is this: always look for the simple, fixable cause first. Do not let fear hijack your independence. Do not immediately assume the worst-case scenario. When the car runs rough, you don't instantly assume the engine block is cracked. You check the oil and the air filter. Your body deserves the same respect and systematic troubleshooting. Proactive aging means being a persistent detective about your own well-being. It means standing up to the initial fear and insisting on laboratory proof before accepting a devastating label. You have reclaimed a vital part of your life and independence simply by ensuring that the fundamental building blocks, your nutrition, were in place. You protected your dignity, clarified your finances, and restored peace to your home. You are now operating from a place of renewed strength and clarity, ready for the next phase of life. But while we've addressed the chemical causes of daytime confusion and fatigue, we haven't yet discussed the other great drain on independence that creeps up in the retirement years, the silent sabotage that happens every night. Because even a perfectly balanced B12 level cannot overcome chronic interruption. In our next segment, we must turn our attention to the bedroom. We are going to examine the most overlooked habit that determines your energy, your mood, and your ability to remember names tomorrow. It is time to look at the powerful wisdom hidden in your nightly routines and why this one simple adjustment can change everything about how you feel during the day.